Drivers from the historical days of NASCAR racing again and self-driving race cars. Let's talk about it.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment. Now, what I'm going to do today is probably going to be a little bit conflictional for a lot of people, probably be exciting for some other people. But I want to start out with this clip right here. And this is my dad, somewhere around 1970, racing at Watertown Speedway. And man, so many times I think, I wish I could still see him race like this. I wish I could see this happening. And actually, this happened before I was born. But I would have loved to seen this era of him racing. And the reality is, this is very soon to be possible. And we're going to talk about all that today. We're going to talk about race cars that need no drivers because it's happening. But I want to start out with this right here. Imagine, if you could, here, drivers from the past like Dale Earnhardt, David Pearson, Cale Yarborough, Wendell Scott, Fred Lorenzen, competing against drivers of today like Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace and Kyle Busch in a 500-mile race. Seems like you can't. In reality, you can't. But the reality is changing right now, where this very soon be a possibility to see this. And this is what we're going to talk about right here in this episode, because what I'm talking about is AI technology. And it really took off here a couple weeks ago, a little less than a couple weeks ago. OpenAI, Sora, put this out right here. And what you're seeing right here is not real. This man is not real. None of this is actually happening. And you can see this vehicle. You can see how real this looks, the dust, just the atmosphere around it. But none of it is real. Not a single bit of it. And this technology has advanced so much. What you're seeing right here, this was just a year ago. In 1 year, they've been able to do that to what you see here. And capability right now is only able to do a 1-minute video. But in no time at all, this is going to be able to do hours of video, because that's what this is after. And man, I'm going to tell you, could you just imagine seeing Kyle Larson in a 1985 Monte Carlo with his color scheme racing against Dale Earnhardt at Daytona? And the thing about it is, if you take a look at this right here, this is not real either. None of this is real. So you could basically have these guys in that era. You could have Daytona Speedway in 1985. You could basically run any racetrack around the world, or fictional ones as well. You could set up racetracks like, say, Atlanta. The way it changed, you could do the same thing to Texas and see how it would race. So all this stuff is going to be happening. I know it does happen right now in iRacing and some other things, but this is wild, wild technology. And I know a lot of people will say, you don't want to see past figures like this be a part of something like this. But the reality is, it could be broadcasters. I mean, you could have Larry Nuber back, Benny Parsons. There could be so many cool things to this, actually, that could happen. And again, that man is not real in that astronaut suit. And the likeliness, the way that they can take recognition of facial recognition and vocal recognition, it could be a real race episode. I mean, from broadcasters to pre-race interviews to victory lane celebration. This is all a possibility in the near future that could be something on TV to see. And I know a lot of people say, this probably will never happen or anything like that. But I want to give you an example of, anybody that follows me knows I'm in the film business. I'm going to do this right quick. But SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, was on strike for exactly these reasons, because of AI technology. And agreement finally was made. But even with that agreement, this past week alone, since this video has come out, Tyler Perry, who was building a $800 million addition, 12 sound stages on his studio property, put it all on hold, because he said, you know what? With this technology, I don't have to fly people across the country. I don't have to spend all the money on this. I don't have to sit in a makeup chair for 3 or 4 hours getting ready. I don't have to do any of this stuff because I can do it right here and it'll look exactly the same as if I put all this money into it. So he's seeing a very money saving aspect of it. And we're coming out of something that was just, this is what this was all about. But it's starting to change already. And I could see this transferring over to NASCAR because if you look at the broadcasting deal with the owners, everybody going back and forth, everybody was saying, you know what? NASCAR needs the owners. They need the drivers. The fact is, in the future, that might not be a possibility. So where I'm going with this is I think drivers right now, team owners and everybody else, they need to start looking at this with their contracts and everything else to put it together so they can protect themselves in the future because this could very likely happen. And, you know, not saying it would ever replace NASCAR, but if something like this did happen, you would watch. I would watch to see the mannerisms being put into these computers because they could follow the racing in the past, see how they drove, and make it happen. And to see some of the drivers from the past compete against some of the guys today, I have to admit, that'd be pretty cool. But anyways, let's move on to this next thing right here, and this is self-driving race cars. Now, this is something that's not new, but actually this year, there's going to be a race, April 28th at Yas Marina Circuit. There's 10 cars, F1 style cars. They're going to get out there and compete in a race together. This is all put together by a company called Spire. And there's 10 teams that are going to get out there. They cannot change parts. They can't change performance. They can't change anything on the car. The only thing that can be changed is the algorithm of the computer that's driving the car. And it's adaptation. That's its learning as it goes along. And this is something that's been going on for a while. And by the way, that race is paying $2.25 million in a purse between these 10 teams. And it's made up of universities. And universities from North America, Germany, Singapore. I mean, there's all across the country that are coming together to be a part of this. So this is a reality. And something I could see, again, coming into the future of NASCAR. We're already talking about the electric vehicles coming in NASCAR, but just wait. But these cars are able to adapt. They're able to learn because in testing and everything else, they put them out there by themselves. They knew just to go fast. Go the fastest you can go. But over time, they put other cars out there with actual drivers in them, and cars reacted differently. They still won. They still were faster, but they reacted differently. But then they put them out with a bunch of other vehicles, and the cars didn't work as well. It didn't know because the only thing it knows is to go fast and go. But when it had to move with traffic and everything, it got messed up. But over a quick period of time, I think it was like 10 runs that they did with this simulation thing, but that computer adapted and it knew. It took on a driver's personality of when to be hard on the gas, when to brake. It learned, it developed, and that's wild. That is wild to me. But this technology has been taking place for a while, as I say. And man, here's some footage out there. You can see how slow they were when they first started out. And again, they started out one car at a time, then they put two out there by themselves. And man, look at this right here. This car lost control, and this was because of some of the first times racing together, but didn't hit lost it, but was able to save it enough and move on, not getting into the wall as you'd kind of expect it to happen. But wild technology. And I'm going to finish off with this right here because this is also what they can do. They can drive in the dark. Complete darkness. Looks like Tron out there on a racetrack. And man, I'm going to tell you, that to me is actually kind of cool. I would enjoy seeing that. If you could watch these race cars in the complete darkness for, I wouldn't want to watch it 500 miles, but just for a little while, see these guys out there, or I should say these teams, not these guys, but the computer cars racing against each other in these Tron cars in a complete darkness. And that'd be pretty wild to see. But this is the reality. And the thing I know a lot of people are going to say is, well, you know what? It's going to take away from being at the racetrack, but the technology is there. You could actually put on a set of virtual reality goggles and be at this race, be at this virtual race. You could watch it on TV and it would look just like it was actually happening, and you could put these goggles on and look around and see all the race in action. So believe me, this is going to happen. But anyways, man, I want your opinions on all this. I know it's so much to think about because the drivers that are gone, we respect them. They're such a part of our history. and so much needs to be left alone. But there's so much of it too that could be really cool to see. Just as I say with my dad, I lost my dad a couple years ago, and I watched that video a lot, and because I really don't have a lot of video of him back in those days, so it'd be so neat to see my dad race again. And want your opinions. Anyways, hope everybody out there is having a great day. If you like what I'm doing, please give this episode a subscribe. I'm trying to get to 2,500 here. It's not like I'm trying to push limits. Just trying to have a good time, talk some racing, and hope you enjoy it. So please give me a subscribe here. Give the channel a like. Hit them notifications. And, man, above all, hope you're having a great week. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.